I'm gonna be honest, I'm not a super disciplined person. I've tried studying 2 hours a day. I've tried the Duolingo streaks. But every time it would just bore me or frustrate me, and then I'd become inconsistent. So I quit. I stopped studying and doing things that I didn't like. And I started learning the lazy way. No textbooks, no grammar studies, just 5 simple habits that got me from 0 to C1 in Spanish. Here is exactly what I did and how you can do it too. Number 1 is studying with music. Music always inspired me since I was a kid, so it was no surprise that it was going to help me out a lot when it came time to learn a language. My method is super simple. First, I would read the translation of the lyrics of a song about 5 to 10 times in my native language while I listened to the song. At the end of this step, I would have already learned about 70% of the meaning of the song. Then I would read the lyrics 5 to 10 times in my target language as I listened to the song. If you do this, you'll realize that because you read it so many times in your native language, you already kind of know what they're saying, even if you don't know the words in your target language. This leads to super easy acquisition of vocabulary. Then I would look at the lyrics, find words that I still haven't memorized, and I would put them in Anki flashcard decks and study them until I knew about 90% of the words in a song. Then I would just use that song as listening practice, and I would study another. I would do this for about 5 to 10 songs a week, which led me to acquiring about 200 vocabulary words every week without studying. Currently, that playlist I learned Spanish with has over 390 songs and about 400 listening hours. You know, it's something about the rhythm that comes with music that just makes it so much easier to learn words through music than it would be if you were learning them from a textbook, for example. Number 2 is journaling. When I was 17 years old, I began journaling in English. So whenever I started to learn Spanish, I really wanted to learn to journal in Spanish, but I just couldn't. I didn't know enough vocabulary words to write out my thoughts in Spanish. So I made a method that would allow me to journal in Spanish and learn words at the same time. First, I would write the journal entry in English. Then I would translate it using Google Translate. Then I would write the journal entry in a journal, in a physical journal, paying attention to every word that I wrote and trying to think about which word meant what, because I already knew what I was trying to say. Then I would read it to myself and try and study the words with flashcards that I hadn't acquired. You know, this method was super valuable because I was learning words that I needed in real time. I needed these words to express myself, and so that made them more relevant to me, which helped me acquire them quicker. The only problem with this method was that it took a lot of time. I mean, I probably spent 45 minutes writing the journal entry, translating it, writing it by hand in my journal, reading it aloud, getting definitions from Spanish dictionary for the words that I didn't know with examples, and then putting them into flashcards. And that's actually what led me to creating LingoDiary, which is literally just an app that does all of those things for you. You can write in your native language and get a perfect translation and grammar notes explaining the grammar used. And in the same app, you can save words and study them later. Or you could just write in your target language and get corrections. This is super beneficial because you're learning words that are important to you right now, which means your brain is going to remember them easier. Check it out for free in the description if that sounds cool to you. Now, my third method was working with native speakers. After many journal entries and hundreds of songs memorized, I knew a lot of words, but I wasn't practicing speaking. Luckily, I worked with a lot of Spanish speakers because I was working in warehouses. Once I told them that I was learning Spanish, they were so happy to practice with me. This was a huge advantage. I mean, not only was I able to practice speaking Spanish, but I was getting paid while doing it. This is an insanely good way to learn a language, and if you can get a job with native speakers of the language you're learning, definitely do it. It will help a lot. Number 4 is reading interesting books. Once you're at the B2 level, you can already read quite a bit of interesting content. If you can get a story that's written in your target language that interests you, you will acquire so much vocabulary. And the best part is, you won't even feel like you're studying. You'll just be acquiring vocabulary in your target language, just like you did in your native language. I won't talk too much about this, but trust me, it helps a lot. And number 5, traveling. Now, I know that not everybody can travel right now. However, I'm a big believer in the idea that if you want to do something, you will do it. So if you make the goal to travel in the near future, I believe you'll find the way to make that happen. Traveling is really what took me from B2 to C1. First, I went to Cologne, Panama for a month. I was away from my family and everyone that I knew, and I had to speak Spanish to survive. Later, I went back home and returned to Panama for 3 months. And that was the turning point. That's when I went from knowing a lot of words but struggling to find them to having fluent conversations with people for hours on end. So that's really how I got fluent the lazy way. And it may sound very simple, and it is, but that is truly a way that you can approach language learning. You don't have to study. You don't have to be bored. You don't have to get frustrated. Just with pure exposure and acquisition, you can reach the C1 level in the language you're learning. I tried Busu, I tried Duolingo, I tried Memrise, but they always left me feeling bored and unmotivated. And if that's you, I suggest you try these methods. They'll all be in the description so that you don't forget them. And always remember, showing up and doing anything is better than doing nothing. Even if that just means reading the lyrics to a song as you listen to it once a day. So if you're feeling burnt out, if you're feeling stressed about language learning, do me a favor, go find a song that you love in the language you're learning and just read the lyrics to it. Like the video if you found this valuable and subscribe so we can hit 10,000 subscribers soon. Also, check out LingoDiary in the description for free if you'd like to start journaling in your target language. It was a pleasure seeing you again, friend. Have a wonderful week. Goodbye.